Yeah, now we're talking. Whoops, easy, Jackson. Here we go, Eduardo. How's this? Hey, take it easy, man. What are you doing? Oh, my God.
Hey gang! Happy New Year! Defective. Anyway, we have got, yes, another slasher. 3 in a row. This one is, of course, Terror Train, set at New Year's, and is one of 2 slasher films Jamie Lee Curtis made in Canada. The first being Prom Night. And this follows a similar plot to that one. We have an incident in the past that will have a lot of relevance on the killers coming back and taking out the people later. There is a twist on the usual love triangle, but we'll get to that later. And we have a seasoned veteran actor to give us some old Hollywood style dramatics. In this case, Ben Johnson. Actually, Ben Johnson signed to the project without even reading the script. The director, Robert Spotswood, who would go on to direct James Bond movies, among other things, had worked with Johnson on a Sam Peckinpah film, The Getaway, and he was very impressed with Spotswood, and so when he was approached, he decided, hey, this guy will make a great filmmaker, I've worked with him before, I'll sign on immediately. And we also have 2 second-generation actors. We have Hart Boker, I think it's the pronunciation, who is the son of Lloyd Boker, who is a very popular character actor who did a lot of film and TV work. Everything from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea to The Golden Girls. And was also in such films as Crowhaven Farm and Satan's School for Girls, as well as Nightwalker. Hold on. It's getting a little rambunctious, and he loves chewing on wires, and I can't seem to stop him from that. Anyway, Lloyd Botch. Oh yeah, the William Castle Shocker Nightwalker. And we also have, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis, daughter of Tony Curtis. I've forgotten her name. And Psycho's one of my favorite movies. Janet Leigh. And this was during her heyday as a Scream Queen, starting with Halloween. And she followed that up with The Fog, Prom Night, this movie, the Australian thriller Road Games, and of course Halloween 2, before going into comedies like Trading Places, True Lies, Fish Called Wanda, before then again returning to horror, Virus, and of course Halloween H2O and Halloween Resurrection, before moving on to family films, Christmas with the Cranks and Freaky Friday, before again returning to horror with the last Halloween trilogy, Halloween, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, and then, of course, winning her much well-deserved Oscar for, is it Everything, Every Way? I'll put it down here. Anyways, getting to the film, we open on New Year's Eve at a college where the freshman pledges get pranked, of course, and they have a rather nasty prank for Pledge Kinney.
Kiss me. Kiss me.
Ew. They tried to get him to kiss a corpse. Unbeknownst to them, Kinney had a few problems, and he flipped out. Ended up in a hospital. We jump 3 years later. Most of the fraternity and sorority people are now in their senior year, and it's New Year's Eve, and they're having a big party. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis plays a student named Alana, and she is romantically involved with Mo, who's very rich, and he hired a train. And actually, it was Doc who came up with the prank on Kinney. It was his idea, but Elena hasn't liked Doc since the night of that prank, so they lied and told her it was her boyfriend's idea. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come. Anyway, we are getting ready to board the train, and it's a costume party. And Edward, or Eduardo as they call him, seems to have run into a bit of a problem during boarding.
Hey, look at Ed! Fabulous fun. Hey, did you see Ed? Pretty good, Ed. Way to go, Eduardo.
The only problem is, it's not a gag. He really was stabbed with a sword. The killer takes his costume and finds a rather clever yet way of getting rid of the body. Like I said, pretty nasty. Anyways, we get some character development with Ben Johnson's conductor, Carney, learning about his RV business and how it's not doing so well, which is why he's taking his extra work doing these train excursions. And we learn all about the odd little love triangle that's going on here. Well, maybe not a love triangle per se, but now Elena is in love with Mo. Now Mo's best friend is Doc, whose girlfriend is Mitchie, who's also best friends with Elena. You know, those things work out. But Doc seems to be rather jealous of the fact that Mo likes to spend time with Elena. Well, he doesn't really care for Elena because Elena doesn't like him. You know, it's one of those things. So it is a weird thing where the best friend is trying to break up a romance so that he can have time with the friend. Well, maybe not so odd. Anyways, after we learn all this great character stuff. The killer, now dressed as Eduardo, stalks Mitchie.
That hurts. How you doing, Eduardo?
Mr. by that much. Oh well, if you can't get one victim, there's always another one to get with. Like Jackson, who interrupted his first attempt.
No!
Hi, keeper.
Indeed, he's quick. Anyway, we then move to the seniors only car, where Atlanta finds out Doc, who she can't stand, is the one behind the actual party. So she and Mo have a fight. She walks out. He follows. And they kind of work things out. And then they go to the car, where the eating car, I can't remember what it's called, but you know, those area trains have club car. Yeah. And hey, look who's been hired to do entertainment.
This is the best part of all. If we take the cigarette and start to remove it, the quarter will seem to seal itself up.
Wow. Mo has got some big bucks. David Copperfield is actually his own film appearance, playing a different character. He found he didn't really like acting, you know, with a script and everything. He was more of a stage performer, magic tricks and such. So this was his only major film appearance in such a role. Let's see, where are we? Well, then we get the show where he makes his assistant disappear. That's a good trick. Copperfield actually performed all of his tricks on camera, live. So he had to work very hard, because camera can look real close, for the sleight of hand to work. Of course, Doc's come to an interesting revelation about this magician.
Where is everybody?
Watching a magician?
Well, where the hell are Jackson and Ed?
I don't know.
Hey, wait a minute. We didn't hire a magician.
Well, maybe somebody else had a good idea for a change,
So Mo hired the magician? Interesting. Anyway, Mary and Pet are having trouble finding their boyfriends, Jackson and Eduardo, and so they strike up a conversation with Doc and Mo.
These girls look faint. Can we do anything to revive them?
I don't know, maybe some kind of injection?
You girls better come back to the consulting room with us. We may have to do an exploratory.
You know, the actress playing Mary looks very familiar. Let's look her up here on the list. D.D. Winters. Oh! Vanity! She did do film work before becoming a singing star. She was in Action Jackson, The Last Dragon, that John Stamos movie where he played a teenage spy or something. Gene Simmons was the villain in that one. Anyway, she and Mary and Pet decide to go off with Doc and Mo, and this is seen by Mitchie, who's not too happy with her boyfriend. Anyway, Carney, having noticed that the one bathroom has been locked for quite a while, and there is a rather strong scent of alcohol coming from it. He decides to check to see if someone needs help.
My God.
No, I don't think there's any help for Jackson there. Well, Carney relocks it and heads back to get a slug of whiskey from Charlie. And then he and Charlie go to whatever it is they're going to do with the dead body.
What?
What the hell? There was blood there before.
Inconceivable.
Huh. I don't know. Seems like maybe Carney was mistaken. Apparently Jackson's just drunk. Well, Midge comes along and she decides to take Jackson under her wing, and maybe get back at Doc and Mary at the same time. So she takes him over to a sleeper bunk.
Sex. Well, you know what they say. Cold hands, warm heart.
Hi, Kiba.
Oh. He's nasty. Or is it she? Probably he, because it's Kenny. That's kind of obvious, right? Anyway, this is the really intriguing part of the film. You see, every time the killer gets a victim, he then changes costume to the victims. Clever. Anyways, back in the club car, the magician is flirting with Elena. And then Doc, who's left Mo and Pet in one of their cabins, and pulls a mean little trick.
Mo's waiting for you. He said to tell you he's sorry, and so am I.
Why, that miserable little... Nope, better not say. Don't want to upset any parents out there. Yeah, there you go. She always has such trouble with her tie. Anyway, Lena goes off to Mo's cabin, where Pat's been getting naked, even though Mo doesn't want her to. Ooh. And then Doc sets his sights on the magician, who he can't stand because, magic isn't fun. Not like pulling pranks. And the animosity is reciprocated.
That's third-grade stuff.
Oh, Doc, shut up. Really?
Whoa.
Boy's getting violent. It's pretty sharp. I wonder
What's he got?
Boy, Doc's just getting humiliated left and right here. Don't go up against a magician. They're got tricks you can't even think of. I like how Copperfield really comes off as kind of menacing here. For a man that said he didn't really enjoy acting, he's not bad at it. Anyway, Carney is making another pass through the cars and finds a discarded woman's shoe. Yeah, he found Mitchie. And this time, there's no mistaking it. She is definitely been unalived. Unfortunately, Elena happens down at that point too, and she discovers Mitchie's body with Carney, and she, of course, flips out and races to the cabin where Mo is valiantly trying to get Pet to put her clothes back on, but luckily Mitchie doesn't come in, or Elena doesn't come in, and he escapes the trap Doc put on him. Back at the club car, Mo comes up to Doc for a little confrontation.
I didn't get caught, okay?
Ha ha. Well, the magician's getting ready to put on his second performance, but, he still needs his assistant.
Well, for my next show, I'm going to need to have her back. So, watch.
They are good, aren't they? Well, after getting Elena situated somewhere comfortable, Carney decides to take another look at that toilet. So he was right about that killing too. Well, back at the show, Doc's had enough. His heckling isn't doing anything, so he decides it's time for him and Mo to go.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
well, that's a good one. That's a good one.
You're great. Thank you.
Come on, Mo. Come on. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Mo's been done away with. And because Doc is such a prankster, nobody believes him when he starts asking for help. So he drags the body through several cars until he comes upon Elena and Carney. And when he learns of Midge's untimely demise as well, he pulls the emergency stop cord. But the train doesn't stop. Carney rushes to the engine. Man, the killer gets around. Took out the engineer and the guy who shovels the coal. Well, luckily Carney's experienced enough that he can stop the train. At which point, he gets everyone off and has the porters search for this mystery killer. And he has everybody take their masks off because you can't be, because he has to know who's who. And he's got the fraternity president checking names. Yeah. At which point, Elena realizes killer must be Kenny. She went to visit him at the hospital and found out before he went to college he had been responsible for an accidental death, and that's caused him some issues, exacerbated by their prank. Doc, he knows who Kenny is now, and drags Elena back to the cabin and shows her the proof.
Presto changeo, the same little shit. Good old Kenny Hibbs.
This just about solves the mystery.
The magician. It does help that the actor who played the younger Kenny and David Copperfield do have a slight resemblance to each other. So it works. And he has been sinister throughout the film, yes. Well, Elena decides, hey, this is important. We got to go tell the conductor and get the magician, locked up or something for the rest of the trip, because they can't stay off the train. It's like below zero out there. There's no radio on the train. Cheap owners. There's nowhere they can walk to. They've got to continue. Doc, he preferred to just stay locked in his cabin, and they can fend for themselves. That's not good enough for Elena, and she leaves. So Doc locks himself in, and then realizes that, there are some hiding spots in here. So he starts checking them, and he realizes someone's under the bed. And he tries to get out, but he's locked the door, and he can't seem to manipulate it. And then he gets a relief.
Mitchie. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's a joke. A goddamn practical joke.
Nope, joke's on you. Ha ha. At this point, Elena has notified the conductor it's the magician. And they have proof. Back in Doc's cabin. She'll show him. Well, he does get some kind of proof.
You're not rugged, it's true.
Good enough. So, they get everybody out of that car where the performances were being done. And they lock it. So only the magician's back there. And it is at this point Ben Johnson gets his dramatic moment that you gotta give every major star at least once in a film. And he does it beautifully.
You aim to kill him. Give me the axe. Before you go, you take a look at the bodies of some of your friends. Is it worth that, son?
Ooh, good one. Yeah. That's acting right there. Kids talk down just from the strength of his performance. Well, Carney goes in the back to look for the magician. Can't find him. He must have jumped off the back of the train. So, that's taken care of. Now, Elena is being guarded by a porter in a room they don't normally, or a cabin they don't normally use. It's an older one. But, well, you'll see. Looks like Elena's a goner.
Hi, keeper.
Ow! Ooh! Sword right through the... Ugh. But, as Elena is our final girl, she's not so easy to take down. Which point, we get our obligatory chase. And since everybody's way up there and they're running way back there, or is it the opposite? I can't remember. Anyways, she's running in the opposite direction of where everybody is. That's right, she's running towards the front. And anyways, we get a knockdown, drag-out fight between the two of them.
Hi, keeper.
The killer's finally gone. Or is he? Yeah, it's like dealing with a cat here. And I know cats. Anyway, Elena does some investigating and looking through the magician's stuff and makes a horrifying discovery.
You're not rugged, it's true.
Oh, no! It's not the magician. He's killed by his own magical tools. Who is the killer? Oh my gosh. So, Elena runs to the front of the train, you know, where the engine and the place where all the conductors and porters and stuff stay, and runs into Charlie. Oh, thank goodness. She's safe. Yes, it's the killer. But not only that.
Inconceivable.
It was the assistant. How crazy is that? Well, getting rid of the wig and the makeup, there's only one thing Kenny wants after all these years.
Kiss me, Elena.
Kiss me, Kenny.
Kiss me.
Kiss me.
He wants that kiss he never got. But you know, there's an old saying, careful what you wish for. Trauma's still there. Flips out just the same way he did 3 years ago. And then, because of all this commotion, Carney, who's been driving the train at this point, he's a well-trained conductor, comes in to see what all the fuss is going on and becomes the hero again.
Hi, keeper.
What an ending. This is one of those top tier serials from the golden age of 78 to 81, 82, around in there, where all the really, really good ones and the ones everybody remembers came out. You know, Halloween, Friday the 13th, My Bloody Valentine, Prom Night, Terror Train, this one. And not to say there weren't good ones made after that, but there was a diminishing thing as the cliches became rather overused. This is an excellent slasher, not too gory, and there is the novelty of the killer constantly changing costumes, so you don't get a actual full look at a recognizable killer, which could be detrimental. I mean, when you compare it like My Bloody Valentine, where you had such an iconic looking villain with the hat and the miner suit and the gas mask and the pickaxe, you really get a great looking villain there. And this one, they played up the Groucho Marx costume in the ads and the promotion for the film, but he starts that about a third of the way through. Although I do have a question why he continued wearing Mitchie's mask after it was kind of obvious the disguise was unnecessary. Jamie Lee Curtis is great as always. A little vulnerable, but inner resolve and believable in the fight she has with the villain. She's always been an actress that played strong characters, and this is no exception. Probably why I had a crush on her back in the day, among many other celebrities. We don't need to go into that. And of course, Ben Johnson. I mean, the man's been in the business since the 30s. Made a lot of westerns. Although my favorite of his performances is probably Mighty Joe Young, where he played a cowboy who went to Africa to lasso animals for promotion for a nightclub, and then they meet the gorilla and all that. Although pretty good in the Wild Bunch. Most of his Peckinpah work's pretty good too. Getaway, Wild Bunch, all that. But rest of the cast is okay. David Copperfield's decent, but he's not a trained actor. The killer was played by, let's see, what was his name? Where is he? Derek McKinnon, who was a stage actor at the time, and he tells some great stories about how he came to get the role. He actually was driving a friend to audition, and they didn't like the friend's look. They took one look at him and said, "You want to audition?" He's like, "Okay." So he auditioned, and they called him back a few times, and he had a drag show he was doing at the time. Bing! And when he was hired, they had gone to see his show. Okay, this is the one. And when they hired him, he was like, "Oh, okay." And they said, "You do know what you've been hired for?" He's like, "Yeah, I got a bit part in a horror film." It's like, "No, you're going to be one of the main characters with Jamie Lee Curtis." Now, the writer of the film, I love this story. He came up with, he'd had a dream, and he told his wife about it. He said it was sort of like Halloween mixed with Silver Streak, the Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor comedy adventure. And his wife said, "That sounds like a terrible film." And he wrote down Terrible Train, which then got shortened to Terror Train. Another great story. Yeah, McKinnon does a pretty good job. Yeah, not a trained actor, but he spends most of the time wearing different costumes, so it's more pantomime than anything else. And first time I saw it, I did not see he was the magician's assistant. I bought that was a female. Shows what I know, right? But yeah, excellent slasher. Not too gory. There are some gory parts, but the really ghastly ones I skipped over, such as when Doc's body falls out of the upper berth. His head falls separately. Don't need to see that. At least I don't. But yeah, excellent film. Really enjoy it. Top tier slasher. Good story. Reworking of Prom Night and My Bloody Valentine. They all seem to have the same story, but great execution on it. Figuratively and literally. That's all I have to say about this one. Hope you have a happy new year. And please stay after the credits for my favorite scene.